Hello, my dear students. Kamusta ang lahat? I hope that this lecture finds you and your families safe and well after the recent typhoons. I know that the past days may have been stressful or difficult for some of you or most of you, and I want to acknowledge that strength of yours, no, that resilience during these tough times. So as we transition back to remote classes, please, no, please don't hesitate to reach out, especially if you're still facing any challenges or if you need some support for catching up. Because again, it is still your well-being that remains to be our top priority. And we, your teachers, we are always here to help you transition smoothly into your studies. So sana nawa ay nasa mabuting kalagayan ang bawat isa. Before we go to our discussion per se, I would like to show you first this picture that I got in Pinterest. So this is um a dialogue or a conversation between a boy and a rabbit. Sabi niya dito, sabi ng boy, "How strange that the grass is all that remains standing after the storm." Tapos sumagot naman yung rabbit. Sabi niya, "Sometimes being soft is strong." So I would like all of you to pause for a minute or two, kindly reflect on what we have read. Mm. So this one class, no, I find it very timely and relevant, especially after experiencing three strong typhoons. Hindi yun biro, no? Hindi biro ang pinagdaanan ng lahat. Maybe for some, especially for those with comfortable lives, yung mga matataas yung kanilang mga kabahayan or kanilang mga areas, no? Maybe for them, this is a fun time kasi walang pasok, mga ganyan. Nakakapagpahinga sila, no? Masarap ang buhay. But it is not the same for everyone. Yung iba, maraming nabaha, 'di ba? Maraming um, natanggalan ng mga bubong, mga ganyan. Mga nagkasakit, nabasa ang mga gamit, 'di ba? So, it is not the same for everyone. So, let's try to be sensitive and considerate sa lahat. So, what is the point of this picture? Um, I want you to know, class, that even though you may feel soft or you may feel weak or frail or low or small like grass right now, parang damo, para kang damo, feeling mo ang baba mo or ang weak mo, 'di ba? Mahina ka, maliit ka lang, but um don't uh, stay or don't um stay in that position or in that feeling because sabi niya dito, even no, even these small grass can remain standing after the storm. So always remember that these storms in life, you may take it literally or not, these storms, mga bagyo sa buhay, class, we may use these as fuel for us to become stronger, smarter, kinder, and better individuals. So I hope that this resonated well to all of you. So enough of that. Let's go to our main topic for today. Let me just share my slide. Okay, so for today, our topic would be all about fresh tissue examination. So disclaimer lang ulit class, this PowerPoint presentation was made by Sir Ian, but I have modified it, no, yung pagkaka-present medyo binago ko para mas maganda, no, mas maayos siya sa mata natin. So, let's start. Okay. So, histopathologic techniques. Histology class. So, this was your um subject or course last semester from, I think, Sir Mark or Sir Jerome. So histology, it is defined as the microscopic study of the normal tissues of the body. So normal tissues of the body. While histopathology, may nadagdag na dyan na patho. So this naman class is the microscopic study of tissues affected by disease. So that is the main difference between histology and histopathology. And the procedures adopted for the material for such studies are known as histologic or histopathologic and techniques, no? Techniques. I have mentioned this before already. When we say histologic or histopathologic techniques or simply histotechnics, by the way, class, please bear with me. Pasensya na kung medyo ngongo yung pagkarinig nyo sa boses ko for this recorded lecture because I've been sick na for days and I'm still not feeling well, no? But I am already taking the necessary meds to feel better. So, pasensya na class, no? If mayat maya eh medyo uupo-upo ako. um, your instructor is not disease proof. Yes. So anyways, let's go back when we say histotechnics. And histotechnics, this is considered as both an art and a science. And this one, kaya nga siya tinawag na techniques because these are procedures. Now, these are procedures performed by us medical technologists. So, these are procedures done to produce ano yung um, end product natin for histotechnics. Good quality, sorry, walang comma yan. Good quality tissue sections. So this is the goal, no? To produce good quality tissue sections, hindi lang basta-basta tissue sections lang, no? So good quality tissue sections which are studied by pathologists to diagnose the presence or absence of malignancy. Kasi nga class, di ba, kapag sinabi nating malignant, this can cause death. Kapag naman benign, this will not cause death. So, ang trabaho natin as medical technologists is to perform the procedures to produce these good quality tissue sections. Ano-ano yung mga procedures na yan, class? From the collection, hanggang sa preservation, hanggang sa processing. When we say tissue processing, ito yung binanggit ko last time na FDCIE. 'Di ba? So, up to its collection, preservation, processing, hanggang sa pag-stain ng mga tissues na yan, hanggang sa pag-cut, 'di ba? Hanggang sa mounting, ringing, up to the labeling. And then, kapag na-prepare na natin yung mga um, slides natin, so meron na dyan stained tissues sa ating glass slides, yan na class, no? Yan na yung ibibigay natin sa ating mga pathologists and sila na yung mag-examine under the microscope. And sila din yung i-interpret, no? Magda-diagnose nung kanilang mga findings. So, I hope that that is clear. And the tissues that we use are usually obtained during surgery, pwede ring biopsy, and autopsy. Biopsy and autopsy, we have already differentiated the two, 'di ba? When we say biopsy, letter B, buhay. So, buhay pa yung ating patient. Pag sinabi naman nating autopsy, o apatay na, 'di ba? We're dealing with cadavers this time. And the following surgical procedures are usually performed to obtain the specific types of tissue that are submitted to a histo- uh, histo- histology laboratory for processing. So let's take a look at the different surgical procedures. Oops. Okay. So first, we have here fine needle aspiration, or also known as FNA. In other references, nilalagyan nila dyan ng letter B or biopsy. So, fine needle aspiration biopsy, FNAB. Yan. And FNA, this is considered as the simplest, least invasive test, and it uses the smallest needle. So, kaya nga siya tinawag na fine needle aspiration. It uses a very thin needle to simply remove cells from the area of abnormality. In this one class, FNA or FNAB or fine needle aspiration is a process whereby a thin hollow needle is inserted into the mass for sampling of the cells. However, since we use only a very thin needle, no, a small needle, only few cells may be obtained. Kaya nga ang disadvantage nito class, a problematic cell, some of the cells might be missed. That's why it is not always adequate to obtain a diagnosis when you use this one, no, this method. And for superficial masses, FNAB is usually considered as a safe and simple technique for cancer detection. I think I have a photo. And so the image on the left side, class, that shows you the fine needle aspiration procedure. In this case, the area for the collection of sample is the thyroid nodule. And so you can see here a syringe with a very thin needle. So that is for FNA. How about for core needle biopsy? When we say class core needle biopsy, it removes not only cells but also a small portion of the surrounding tissue. Ang main difference class between fine needle aspiration and core needle biopsy is the type of needle that is used, and also of course the amount of tissue that will be collected. Sa fine needle aspiration kasi class, very thin, no, very small yung bore ng ating needle, whereas in the case of core needle biopsy, we use a more or a bigger bore ng needle. So medyo mas malaki yung lumen ng needle natin in this procedure. So, EFNA uses a thin needle to draw out cells, while CNB or core needle biopsy uses a thicker needle to extract a core of the tissue. So, therefore, we can say that CNB generally provides more tissue, which can also lead to a more accurate diagnosis. Kasi nga, parang sa ano class, sa biostats natin, last SEM, di ba? When we are talking about sampling or sample, we want to obtain a sample that will be representative, no, that will represent the whole population. Ganon din dito class, no? When we are choosing a sampling site or sampling area, gusto natin magre-represent siya sa buong tissue. Yung disease na meron dun sa tissue na yun, mare-represent siya nung sample na kukunin mo. And if konti lang, no? Konti lang yung ma-obtain mong sample, in the case of FNA, of course, less yung chance na um, your sample will be representative of the whole tissue. Sa core needle, since mas malaki yung needle, mas marami rin yung tissue na makukuha, more, no, yung chance na um, yung makukuha nating cells or tissues will be um, ideal or will represent the totality of the diseased tissue. So, sabi niya dito, it provides additional information to assist in the examination of the lesion. So, I hope that the difference between FNA and CNB is clear to you. So, this naman shows you an image of the core needle biopsy procedure. So, ito rin class, no? I think this is F na as well. Yung ating thyroid nodule. I also have here the PowerPoint presentation of one of my instructors in SLU, Ma'am Allison. Yan, si Ma'am Allison, SWAL-CN. And I also opted to use this PPT for discussion kasi mas maganda yung pagkaka-present niya class, no? Ganda siya sa paningin, sa mata. Although the content is the same. So kung babasahin nyo yan at mabasahin nyo ito, no, parehas lang din yung mga nakalagay. But in this PPT kasi, ano na siya, bullet form na siya. Kaya mas maganda siya for discussion. But for reviewing, mas kompleto naman itong kay Sir Ian. So, we have here also a photo of FNA, your fine needle aspiration biopsy. And this naman class is your core needle biopsy. It used the same example. Next, how about incisional and excisional biopsy? When we say class incisional and incisional biopsy, it takes out even more surrounding tissue and it takes out some of the abnormality but not all. Take a look at this picture class. Pag incisional biopsy, ito lang yung kinukuha niya na portion. While for excisional biopsy, it generally removes the entire area in question. Kaya dito sa picture, buong lesion class, no? Buong lesion or buong tumor, kukunin niya. Yan. Iba-biopsy niya. Sa incisional biopsy, only a part of that lesion ang kanyang kukunin. That is the difference between incisional and excisional biopsy. So, tignan natin dito. Same lang, no? I'm sorry. Yan. So, for incisional biopsy, it takes out even more surrounding tissues. It takes some of the abnormality, some, but not all. So the doctor will slice into the lesion and remove only a portion of it. If the lesion is found to be cancerous, further surgery may be needed to remove the lesion. Sa excisional biopsy naman, it generally removes the entire area in question. Okay, so here is an image showing you the excisional biopsy. So kung makikita nyo class, mapapansin natin, no, yung buong lesion ay tinanggal. That is in the case of excisional biopsy. Next, surgical procedure. So meron na tayong na-discuss na apat, tama ba? We have discussed four surgical procedures already. We have FNA or FNA, CNB, core needle biopsy, and your excisional and incisional biopsy. Next, we also have punch biopsy. When we say punch biopsy, it is considered the primary technique for obtaining diagnostic full thickness skin specimens. So, full thickness skin specimens. It requires basic general surgical and suture tying skills and is easy to learn. This technique involves the use of a circular plate that is rotated down through the epidermis and dermis and into the subcutaneous fat, yielding a 3 to 4 millimeter cylindrical core of the tissue sample. For us to further understand what we have read, let me show you um, a photo of that. Ayan. So, parang ganito siya, class, no? Punch biopsy, sabi niya doon, we use a circular plate. And usually, ang mga specimens natin, ang samples natin are skin samples. So, this is a skin. So, anong gagawin niya dito? The circular plate will try to cut, no? Kukuha siya ng portion ng from the dermis to the epidermis, to the subcutaneous fat. Yan. So, different layers of the skin yung ating sample for this one. Another photo we have here, this picture. So, in this case, no, the patient has psoriasis. Kaya ang sample na kukunin natin sa kanya is the skin. And we will use punch biopsy for the obtaining of the sample. So, masakit kaya yan, class? I'm not sure, no? But looking at the procedure, parang medyo masakit nga siya, no? Imagine a circular blade will be rotated down through your skin. Kaya siguro siya tinawag na punch biopsy. Another surgical procedure is shave biopsy. Here naman, class, from the term shave, small fragments of the tissue are shaved from a surface, usually skin ulit. So, let's see kung paano naman yan. Ayan. So, this one, class, no? A skin lesion. We have here a skin lesion and we usually use a blade to shave that lesion. So, ganon ginagawa, class, ang shave biopsy. So, parang ganito, no, class? We use a blade. So, nakikita ba natin? So, meron tayo dito purplish lesion sa skin. And we will use this blade to shave that, not to shave that lesion to collect the sample. So that is for shave biopsy. And lastly, last surgical procedure is curetics. I'm sure, no, this term is no longer alien to you kasi nabanggit ko na ito during our discussion sa cytology, yung curette, 'di ba? Remember? Curette, that is a very tiny spoon. Yan, parang spoon-like device or equipment that is used to scoop or spoon the tissue from a body cavity, usually the cervix. So this one, class, ito yung device natin that is the curette. Yan, di ba? Mukha siyang spoon, metal spoon. And anong ginagawa dito? Kumukuha siya ng sample sa ating cervix, no? Endocervix. Okay, so same with um this picture. So here, the uterine walls are scraped with a curette. Yan siya. That is curettings. So tissue is scooped or spooned to remove tissue or growths from body cavities such as endometrium or cervical canal. So again, let's try to review. So tissues, class tissues that are used for histologic or histopathologic techniques can be obtained through surgery, biopsy, or autopsy. Pag sinabi ulit nating biopsy, the tissues are obtained from living. Yan, living, a living person, di ba? Pag sinabi naman nating autopsy, the person is already, and usually the purpose of this is for examination or investigation in order to determine the cause of death. And for surgery, there are, I think, seven surgical procedures that we have mentioned. We have EFNA, CNB, what else? Incisional, excisional biopsy, ano pa? Punch biopsy, shave, and lastly, we have curettings. So, I hope that everything is clear up to this point. Oops. Next, so let's move on to the different methods of tissue examination. Class, tissues can be examined fresh or pwede ring preserved. Pag sinabi nating fresh tissue examination, this is usually employed if there is an immediate need for evaluation. Yan, immediate. So, kailangan ma-assess na agad yung tissues ASAP. One situation class during my internship that employed fresh tissue examination, no, na naranasan ko nung intern pa lang ako, there is this patient, no, that is or who is undergoing a surgery. So, real time, no, surgery. So, the patient is cut open by the surgeon and the surgeon will get a piece of that patient's tissue. I think nung time namin, breast, no? Breast mass, breast tissue yung kinuha. So, if this is the breast, no, may kinuha lang dyan na portion and then the surgeon will submit that tissue in the laboratory. And while the laboratory is testing or preparing the slide for that specific tissue, the patient remains to be cut open dun sa surgery room. So, andun lang siya, no? Na, andun lang yung patient na cut open lang siya dun sa room. So, very crucial, no, class, yung procedure na ito because the patient's life is at stake. So, kailangan yung mga tao sa laboratory, the pathologists, the medical technologists, even us interns during that time, kailangan mabilis kumilos, no? Everything is fast-paced. Kasi nga, nag-aantay lang yung patient, no? Bukas siya doon sa surgical or surgery room. So, um, kailangan hindi ka rin nagpapanik. So, dapat calm ka lang pero mabilis kang kumilos, no? Your mind is alert. Yan. So, everything is moving fast. So, everyone is moving so quickly at that time. So, here, for fresh tissue examination, let me just reiterate, we employ this when there is a need for immediate assessment or immediate evaluation. Kaya nga nung example ko kanina, no? So, nag-aantay lang si patient doon sa surgery room, naka-cut open lang siya. So, kailangan mabilisan ang pagtrabaho, ang perform ng procedure. And the advantage for fresh tissue examination, since the tissues are fresh, no? Fresh yung mga tissues dyan, the cells, the tissues are in their living state. Therefore, processes such as mitosis, phagocytosis, mga ganyan, these processes can be observed under the microscope. However, the disadvantage for this one, since hindi natin sila excuse me, hindi natin sila preserve, hindi natin sila dinehydrate, diba? Hindi natin sila finifix adequately, the tissues or the cells are liable to develop changes, yan, alterations sa morphology. When we say naman preserved tissue examination, so this time the tissues are not fresh, no? They are preserved. Ito na class, yung conventional tissue processing natin. So dito na papasok ang FDCIE. Yan. So here, in preserved tissue examination, it is generally better, more effective, and produces permanent tissue slides. But our focus for this discussion is this one, no? The fresh tissue examination. Okay, so again, class, for fresh tissue examination, sabi niya dito, is specimens may arrive in the laboratory in fixative. So ito class yung preserved ah, preserved tissue examination natin. But sometimes, samples or specimens may also arrive in the laboratory fresh. Yan. So, that's why we conduct fresh tissue examination. And this is just the same with the one I have presented earlier. And there are various methods of fresh tissue examination. I think there are five. So, tama ba? So, one, two, three, four, and five. Yan. So, let's try to discuss each of them. When we say class, teasing, so first we have teasing, or also known as dissociation, or also known as separation. So first method of fresh tissue examination, we have teasing or dissociation or separation. Here class, selected tissue specimen is immersed in a watch glass. So meron tayong watch glass containing isotonic or normal salt solution, and the specimen is carefully dissected, kaya siya tinawag na dissociation, or separated and examined under the microscope. So again, meron tayo dyang watch glass, and then we will put the sample there, the selected tissue specimen, and then next, we will put NSS or normal saline solution or physiologic saline. So, put NSS. And then, next, you are going to tease it out. No? Kaya siya tinawag na teasing. So, you're going to tease it out until it appears homogeneous, or the specimen, the sample, appears fine with granular masses. So, parang ganito yung itsura niya, class. So, it appears, or it looks like a ground pepper. So, it gives a washed out appearance of cells. Ayan. So, that is for teasing or dissociation. Again, meron tayong watch glass. Lalagyan mo yan ng isotonic solution or NSS or physiologic saline. And then, you are going to tease the sample out. Kaya siya tinawag na separation or dissociation or teasing. And then, kapag ganito na yung appearance niya, parang ground pepper na homogeneous, washed out appearance, no? It will be examined under the microscope. Next, next method of fresh tissue examination, we have squash preparation. Sa squash preparation naman, class, literal, no, na iipitin mo yung tissue. So, less than 1 millimeter tissue pieces are compressed. And they are compressed and examined under the microscope. So, here, class, small pieces of tissue, usually not more than 1 millimeter, is placed in a microscopic slide. So, drawing tayo ng slide dyan. Then, meron tayo dyang less than 1 mm tissue. And with another glass slide, yan, with another glass slide, iipitin mo ngayon, no? You will compress the tissue using two glass slides or pwede ring across, no? Ganyan. Andyan yung tissue. So, iipitin mo siya. And then, so the tissues are forcibly compressed with another slide or pwede ring cover glass. And then, so basically you are sandwiching, no? So the tissue is sandwiched between two glass slides. However, glass, for squash preparation, ano yung difference niya with teasing? Sa teasing kasi, um, the tissues or the cells, no, they are dissociated. They are separated already. Here, the tissues remain intact, no? The tissues is flattened but they remain intact. Yan, na-compress lang siya, na-flatten lang siya. But they are not dissociated. No? They remain intact. And sabi niya dito, you may also apply stain. So, after compressing that, pwede kang mag-incorporate ng 1 drop of vital stain saan ka lalagay at the edge of the two slides. And then you will allow capillary action. Yan. And then the stain will cover the entire slide. So that is for squash preparation. Third, meron naman tayong tinatawag na smear preparation. Pag sinabi naman nating smear preparation, this is useful in cytological examinations, particularly for cancer diagnosis. Yan. And there are three techniques for smear prep. Excuse me. So these are the three methods under smear preparation. We have streaking, spreading, and pull apart. Okay, so let's go back to the other PowerPoint so that we can see the different definitions or descriptions of each method of smear preparation. Okay, so sabi niya dito, methods of fresh tissue examination. We have tackled teasing or dissociation or separation. So we also have squash prep or also known as crushing. So this one class, this is a photo or image showing you yung teasing natin, no? I think this is a watch glass, tas andyan yung tissue sample, and then you tease that out, no? Until it creates or it appears homogeneous. Yan. And this one naman glass, the photo on the right side, that is your squash prep naman. Ayan. Okay. So, smear preparation. So, dito na tayo. When we say streaking, when we say streaking glass, here, we use an applicator stick or a platinum loop which is applied in a direct or zigzag line. And this one, this is usually done for sputum and bronchial aspirates. Ayan. So, that is in the case of streaking. So, let's take a look at the picture below. Ayan. So, here, this photo shows us um, the streaking method. So, dito, gumagamit tayo ng inoculum or inoculating loop or pwede ring applicator stick. And then, um, so if our sample is a sputum or a bronchial aspirate, so isasawsaw natin doon yung inoculum or yung inoculating loop or the applicator stick. And then, we will transfer the sample in clean glass slide. And the manner of application is in a direct or zigzag line. So, pwedeng ito yung slide and pwedeng pa-zigzag yung paglagay natin nung sample dyan. And then, we will allow that to dry. So, pwedeng air dry or we may also use heat. Aside from streaking, we also have spreading. So, another method of smear preparation is spreading. Pag sinabi naman nating spreading, no, the material is transferred in a clean glass slide and gently spread into a moderately thick film by teasing using an applicator stick. And this one class, this is usually recommended for preparations of fresh sputum. Ano pa? Bronchial aspirates. So usually for thick mucoid secretions. So literal class, no? Nai-spread mo yung sample doon sa ating glass slide. So the example that was given by Sir Ian here is, I think, PBS, no, a peripheral blood smear. So, yung parang ginagawa natin sa dugo, 'di ba? So, meron tayong slide dyan, and then we will put the sample here and using another glass slide, you are going to spread, no, yung ating sample, giving us a wedge appearance. Yan, 'di ba? Dito sa feather edge, dito tayo um diyan tayo diyan natin ini-examine yung cells. But in the case of histopath, of course, instead of blood, our samples are usually yan, sputum, mga ganyan. So, other mucoid secretions. So, that is in the case of spreading. And last method under smear preparation is we have pull apart. And this one, I think napakita ko na sa inyo class yung method na ito, no? Yung process na ito. Excuse me. And here class, for pull apart, two slides are literally pulled apart with a single uninterrupted motion, useful in preparation of thick secretions as well, such as serous fluid, concentrated sputum, ano pa, enzymatic lavage samples from GIT, and blood smears. So, pull apart, um, Paano ulit ito ginagawa? So, we have a glass slide here, and then you will put the sample there, and using another glass slide, pagdidikitin mo, and then you will pull the two glass slides apart in different direction. So, in a single, uninterrupted motion. Excuse me. Yan. So, parang ganito, class. Therefore, each glass slide will have sample each. Next, so, next method of fresh tissue examination, meron na tayong tatlo, di ba? Ano ulit yung mga yon? Teasing or dissociation, squash prep or crushing, and then smear prep. And under smear prep, we also have three: streaking, spreading, and pull apart. Now, let's move on to the fourth method of fresh tissue examination, which is touch preparation, or also known as impression smear. Ayan. So, when we say touch preparation, class, or impression smear, freshly cut tissue is brought into contact and brought into contact and pressed on the surface of a clean glass slide. So, para mas maintindihan natin, let's take a look at the picture. Ayan. So, ganito siya, class, no? So, we have here a testicular tissue. And then, this sample can be obtained by um, making the glass slide in contact, no? You are going to press on uh, the surface of a clean glass slide. Yung glass slide natin, ididikit natin sa mismong sample natin. Kaya siya tinawag na touch preparation or impression slide. Literal na ididikit mo yung glass slide doon sa sample mo kung saan yung area of abnormality, and then the glass slide will pick up, no, yung sample from that area. Okay, so at last, we are down to the last method of fresh tissue examination, and that is frozen section. And what should we know about frozen sections? This method is usually applied for rapid diagnosis during surgery. So ito yung example ko kanina, class, no? During my internship, we have employed frozen section. And actually, ang ginamit namin doon is this one, no? The cryostat. And what else? Frozen sections are used to demonstrate lipids and CNS tissue elements. And there are two procedures under this one. We have cold knife procedure, and the other one is the cryostat. Cold knife procedure, class, this is usually done or employed for studies involving the cervix. And ano yung ginagawa dito? A cold scalpel or a cold knife, kaya siya tinawag na cold knife procedure. So, a cold knife or a cold scalpel is used to obtain a tissue sample, usually from the cervix, and that sample will be studied for diagnosis. And cryostat, this one, class, i-explain natin, i-discuss natin later. Ayan. So, frozen sections, class, have many applications. We have for undehydrated tissues for rapid diagnosis. What else? Histological demonstration of fats, CNS structures, For sensitive tissue constituents damaged by heat. What else? For diagnostic and research, excuse me, enzyme histochemistry, and for immunohistochemical and immunofluorescent staining. So this one class, this slide shows us how frozen sections is usually done. And here, anong mapapansin natin? A comparison between a frozen section and a routine section. For frozen section, usually the morphology is poor, no, compared to the routine ones. So that is one disadvantage of frozen sections. Kaya nga meron lang tayong mga certain situations or circumstances kung kailan siya ginagamit. Okay, so there are four methods for freezing tissue. We have the following. So liquid nitrogen, isopentane cooled by liquid nitrogen, carbon dioxide gas, and aerosol sprays. Um, for liquid nitrogen class, yeah, I'm not sure if nakikita nyo ito minsan na stall sa mga mall, no? Usually sa SM. Yung ano class, parang candy na circular or parang cereals sila na circular and different colors yung mga cereal balls natin. So this is a container, there's mga cereal balls na usually pastel colors. And then, umuusok sila, class. I'm not sure if nakikita nyo yun na binibenta sa mga stalls sa SM. The material that is used there para umusok, no, mag-produce ng parang um, smoke is actually liquid nitrogen. Yan. I think this one class is called Dragon's Breath. You may search it in the internet, no? Ewan ko if nabudol na rin kayo nito nung bata kayo. Ako kasi last na try ko na 'to 'no, kasi parang ang astig, umuusok siya 'no na, cereal balls tas different colors. Ang ganda tignan. Pero nung tinikman ko hindi naman masarap. Mahal pa naman, parang 150 yata siya or something for a cup, 'di ba? So, Dragon's Breath candy, I'm not sure. Yeah. So, different cereal balls are dipped in liquid nitrogen. And that is a frozen dessert. So, ang ginagamit doon na substance para umusok is liquid nitrogen. So, that is the same, no? Uh, substance that is used to freeze tissues in histopath. Meron din tayong isopentane, you just read, no? So, these are just methods for freezing tissue. Excuse me. And pwede ring carbon dioxide gas or aerosol spray such as CryoQuick. Next, let's talk about cryostat or also known as the cold microtome. So, cryostat, that is an equipment, no? That is a refrigerated apparatus, mm, excuse me, that is used for fresh tissue microtomy. And a cryostat consists of a microtome, usually. What kind of microtome? A rotary microtome. And that microtome is kept inside a cold chamber. And please take note, very important, the temperature of the cryostat is maintained between -5 to -30 degrees Celsius. Average is -20 degrees Celsius. So imagine gaano kalamig yan, no? And this temperature range is usually controlled by the thermostat. Yan, ang control natin. To show you, we have a picture here of the cryostat. Mm. Ayan. So, imagine nyo na lang class, no? Yung freezer na ginagamit sa 7-Eleven or Alphamart na pang-store ng mga ice creams, mga ganun, or frozen meats, mga ganyan. Parang ganun din siya, no? So, parang ganun siya but smaller. And then, sa loob niya, meron tayong microtome. Again, microtomes are used, no, to cut sections. So, parang ganyan yung itsura niya, class. So, the thermostat that is capable of freezing fresh tissues within 2 to 3 minutes. So, ang bilis, no, class? Imagine kung gaano katagal um, na-freeze ng ref natin or ng freezers natin sa bahay yung tubig. 'Di ba? Kung gusto nating gumawa ng yelo, 'di ba? Around siguro 10-15 minutes, mga ganyan. Mabilis na nga yun, 'di ba? But imagine dito class sa cryostat, yung tissues, yung fresh tissues natin na binigay sa laboratory using the cryostat, it can freeze, no? It can solidify tissues within 2 to 3 minutes. Sobrang bilis, no? And it cuts the sections around 4 micra thickness. And this one class, timing is very important. Kagaya nung example ko sa inyo kanina, 'di ba? Um, from the surgery room. Yan, surgery room, si patient nandito nakahiga, binutsak siya, yan, cannot open siya, depende kung anong tissue yung kinuha sa kanya. And then, the sample, ibibigay nila yan sa laboratory. And then, sa laboratory, um, meron tayo diyang mga pathologists, meron din tayo diyang mga medical technologists, mga interns din, pwede rin. And then, yung sample na nakuha from patient na nandun sa surgery room, no, it will come or arrive in the laboratory, and the medical technologist will cut that, will prepare, no? It will process that. So from the cutting or the microtomy or the sectioning of that tissue, yan, mga medtech, mga histopathologist ang mga gagawa niyan. So gagamitin nila ngayon yung cryostat for that. And then, hanggang sa pag-fix, hanggang sa pag-stain ng mga tissues, hanggang sa paglagay doon sa ating glass slide, yan, mga medtechs usually ang gumagawa niyan. Ako din, na-try ko din nung intern ako, no? Pag nakat na ni medtech, syempre, nabibilib pa nga ako dun sa medtech namin ng class kasi very ano na no, under pressure na kasi kailangan mabilisan. Imagine the patient is open, so susceptible siya sa infection. Di mo alam kung maraming pathogens sa kanyang environment. So kailangan from the time it arrived in the laboratory hanggang sa decide si pathologist ng report, maka-generate siya ng report, around 10 minutes lang lahat ang mga pangyayaring yun. So, napakabilis, 'di ba? So, saludo ako sa medtech namin during that time kasi kahit na nakaka-pressure na yung mga patho, she remained calm and composed, 'di ba? Para magawa pa rin niya ng maayos yung trabaho niya. So, kinot niya yung mga sections using the cryostat. I think breast mass yata yung tissue nung time na yun. So, kailangan ma-generate na agad yung report kasi if the tumor is benign, so okay lang kahit hindi tanggalin. But if it's malignant, of course, yung naghihintay na patient dun sa surgery room, yan, pag nalaman from the pathologist na malignant, of course, tatanggalin na nila yung whole tumor. So, very important ang timing when it comes to fresh tissue examination. So, again, pag na gawa na yung mga slide, ang nagawa ko, dati class, ang na-try ko is mag-stain, no? So, si medtech, gagawa siya, magkakat siya ng maraming sections, ilalagay niya sa different slides para marami tayong options. And then, kaming mga interns, mabilisan din, no? Na pag sausaw sa mga stains natin. And then, pag natuyo na, of course, bigay agad sa pathologist. And yung mga pathologist natin, sila yung mag-examine under the microscope. They will try to interpret, benign ba, malignant ba, and then kapag nakita agad, generate agad ng report, no? Then, ibabalik agad sa surgeon. Yan. So, crucial, no? Ang timing natin. Other applications of cryostat or fresh tissue examination na nabanggit natin kanina, fluorescent antibody staining, and histochemical enzyme studies. And this one, no? Yung ating intraoperative diagnosis during surgery. Okay. When it comes to histochemical evaluation involving enzyme studies, so we are studying enzymes. Therefore, the tissue needs to be chemically active. Kaya nga, preferred ang frozen sections for this type of study kasi it avoids chemical fixation. It avoids complete or partial loss of enzymes. However, the disadvantage of frozen sections is because we did not fix the tissues properly, the tissues may tend to disintegrate. So, mahihirapan ngayon tayo i-cut, no, sila thinly or uniformly. Ayan. And lastly, we have other methods. Oops. We have other methods to avoid chemical fixation. We have two. And so first, we have freeze drying, and the other one is freeze substitution. Freeze drying is also known as lyophilization. Lyophilization. Yan. In this one class, this is a special way of preserving tissues by rapid quenching. And rapid quenching of fresh tissue and subsequently removing ice molecules without using any fixative. So here, class, we remove the frozen water from a frozen sample through the process of sublimation. Pag sublimation, from solid to gas, di ba? So from ice to vapor agad yan. Ayan. So, the technique is generally time-consuming and expensive. It is more difficult to section than ordinary paraffin blocks. And the goal or the purpose of freeze drying is mainly for longer preservation, longer preservation, and to extend the shelf life. And to extend the shelf life of the tissues. Again, what do we do here? We remove the frozen water from the frozen sample through sublimation. Kaya nga siya tinawag na drying, freeze drying. We remove the ice molecules. But we do not use any fixative. For freeze substitution naman class, this is different from the previous one because yes, it is also a process of dehydration, but excuse me, um, here we replace the frozen water with an organic solvent. So, pwedeng acetone or alcohol. Yan. So, we replace. Yan. Kaya siya substitution. Yan. We replace the frozen water with an organic solvent. Either an acetone or alcohol. And this is performed at low temperatures as well. Ang main naman na purpose or goal ng freeze substitution is for better preservation of ultrastructure for finer morphology and more detailed microscopy. So kung ang freeze drying, ang main goal niya is to extend the shelf life, ang freeze substitution naman is para mas maganda siyang tignan under the microscope. And for more detailed microscopy. Yan. For preservation of the ultrastructure for finer morphology. And this technique is relatively more economical and less time consuming than freeze drying. And there we have it. That is the end of our discussion on fresh tissue examination. I will see you again on our next recorded lecture. Thank you.